Hey everybody, welcome to another Kornercast podcast here on casterscorner.com. So happy to have you back for another podcast. This week, guest on the show is a good one. It's a really good one. I really enjoyed the introduction to him. Sonny from the Sonny Channel, or Sonny Plays with Toys, joined us this week from Texas, and it was a really great conversation. It went places I wasn't expecting. He's a really interesting guy, does stand up, does a lot of comedy. It really comes through in his pictures and his videos. And we talked about what this last year has been like and some of the creative process for it. And it was a really great conversation. You can follow him on YouTube. He is the Sonny Channel. On Instagram, he is Sonny Plays with Toys, Sonny Plays with Toys, all one word. And the Sonny Channel, and it's Sonny, Sonny. I found him, or I knew he was around and he was part of the community. And then when we did our podcast with Jay Hernandez, one of the posts came up that Sonny did, and so we talked a little bit about that. And then I reached out, and it was great. He was great to talk to, really nice guy. And really just great to get to know. So that's tonight. We're rocking and rolling through on the website. We're rocking and rolling through our toy of the day. We just did number 210, which is the Iron Man Mark III armor from the Infinity Saga. The Infinity Saga new branding for the late summer, fall of Marvel stuff. And so it's our first figure look at it. It was a good figure. I'll enjoy it. I'll, go watch that on our YouTube channel. You can follow us on all our social media at Casters Corner. And we talked about that, and we got a lot coming up, and we're going to do, during what would have been Comic-Con week technically, or the week after Comic-Con when I would have normally taken my downtime. We're doing beginnings. So we're going back to the beginnings on the YouTube channel, and we're going to talk about all the 80s toys that kind of inspired what I do today. So I'm looking forward to filming all those this weekend. And we've got other great podcasts in the coming up. We've got planned and more reaching out to more and more people. So continuing to bring new guests to the show and new introductions to the toy community and building that up. It's been a lot of fun, being a lot more positive and making new friends and building positivity within the toy community instead of tearing everything down. So that's about it. You can follow us. You can follow Sonny. Sonny is spelled Sonny on everything. So the Sonny Channel on YouTube, the Sonny Channel on Facebook, and Sonny Plays with Toys on Instagram. And check out his bid to make the Hood from the Marvel Legends line the figure of the year with Toy Association. So we're really it's been great to watch that unfold. He's been very creative with those. And you can follow us. We are at Casters Corner on all social media. Check out our toy of the day every single day. We're doing a toy review of some kind on our YouTube channel. We're up to 210 days now. And of course, go to casterscorner.com and subscribe to all of our stuff. Follow us, subscribe. The more of you that subscribe, the more cool things we get to do. And then we get to share them with you. And really, that's the best part of this journey. So we really appreciate that. And every time we do a podcast, I forget to do that on the YouTube channel. So follow Sonny, follow us, and we'll do a lot more cool things. And without further ado, it is myself. It is Sonny. Enjoy, everybody.
All right, sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're all good. We're all doing stuff from home nowadays, so,
Yeah, I know. Every day it's like, I gotta tell people to be quiet, but yeah.
Yeah. You got some nice artwork back there, man. Like, are those yours? Like, did you do those shots?
Yeah. These are pictures that I took. I'm not sure which ones all you can see. Let's see.
I'm looking at the Venom, the Symbiont crew, the infected one down there.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite ones right here. I like that Superman a whole lot. Right
Yeah,
there.
no, that's one of the better ones that they did. Like I like the classic one. The classic one was pretty good. But that infected one, there's something about the sculpt of it that just like really. I wish they'd do a regular Superman like that. Like,
yeah, I wish they would just use that for multiple characters. I mean,
yeah,
because I think they said Bizarro uses that same
yeah,
body, but I didn't pick him up yet.
Yeah, no, that's really nice artwork. They're really
thank
good.
you.
When did you start doing photography stuff, or like what got you to put up your own work on your walls?
So I actually did photography, since like 2009, 2010, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing photography, and it actually, because of the pandemic, I had to stop doing photography.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I'm not gonna have people come to my house and shoot
Right.
their photos and stuff. So I started shooting action figure toys, and I was trying to be a serious photographer, and that didn't work out. So I was like, screw it. We'll just bring comedy into it and just roll with that. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, no, I mean, like your push to get the Hood nominated for Toy of the Year, like they opened the door for us, and I feel like I don't know if we all would have walked through it if they didn't say what they said when they revealed the figure.
Well, it's like, because I saw when they did that, and they were like, "Oh, we made the angry head sculpt, the angry toy collector head sculpt," and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." And I was like, I didn't want the figure. I was like,
Yeah.
It's like I don't want it still. But then I saw it at Target, and I was like, let me go and grab it. So I grabbed it, and because I had one idea. The very first photo I shot with him was where he has the microphone and he's like kind of singing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that was the only idea I had with him. And someone had mentioned, like, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Twitter, Facebook, or where, but someone was like, I can't wait to see what you do next. And I was like, oh, I got to follow up. So
There's that social pressure.
Yeah,
Push you
exactly.
into
So
it.
just ran from there. I'm like, man, I'm glad I wasn't doing like cocaine or something. And like, I can't wait to see what y'all do next.
Yeah, no, I liked the character, and I'm not happy with the figure. Like, I'll admit, like, I like the character as in his solo book and all that. So I was looking forward to getting one. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, they ruined it. Like, it's just, and then they made the joke, and it just, now I can't get it out of my head. So
Yeah. I think of course, they make the figures and they can kind of tell which ones are going to be a hit and which ones are going to just kind of be filler.
yeah.
And so I think because I do the same thing. Like, when people are roasting you, you gonna roast yourself first, and you're like, I done took your power.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, they can't really do it. So I think they tried to do that with the figure, with the Hood, and it worked.
It did. I don't see any on the shelves. They're flying. Like, I see there's a lot of AIM scientists out there. There's a lot of Dr. Dooms. I saw a rack of like 8 Dooms yesterday.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I said, they should have made Red Skull the single, like, without the piece. Because, like, not a lot of people want that Doom. And everybody was going to get the Red Skull. Like, it's a classic. It looks really good. You got a lot of options for it. That would have been the one to be the single, but they went with Doom, and he's going to stack up. But I have not seen the Hood on the shelf.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, actually, originally I thought that the Doom would be the hard one to pick up. But yeah, when I see it, I see Doom all the time. So
Yeah.
I was like, dang, it's always Doom and Shang-Chi right next to each other. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that I expect, right? You expect the movie figures to stick around in some way, shape, or form.
I'm only seeing Shang-Chi and Katie when I'm at Target. But like at Walmart, it's only Shang-Chi, Wenwu, and of course I've never seen Death Dealer in person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to order it, but I've never seen him in person.
Yeah, that was she, whatever it ends up being, whatever they end up being. Like, yeah, no, that was a good one. But they heavy packed Shang-Chi, so yeah, he's gonna stick around. I think he's gonna stick around, and I guarantee you, there's gonna be some figures, either Katie or that Great Protector figure, that people are just gonna ignore, and then the movie's gonna come out, and the eBay prices are just gonna go right up. I think so. I think it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah, I think so. I like the new trailer that came out, so I just saw it the other night.
Yeah.
Thursday night. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm excited to get back in theaters. I want to see them on the big screen.
Yeah,
and just see what they're doing. Like, I was talking about it last night. I said, yeah, I'm excited for Black Widow. I want to see the Eternals. I'm excited for Shang-Chi, but Spider-Man's like the one I'm chomping at the bit. Like I really want to see what they do with it. So
yeah, all the little teases that they do, it's kind of like, dang, okay, like this is enough. It's enough. Like, all right.
Yeah. Are you watching Loki? Are you watching Loki?
Yeah, I haven't seen this week's episode, but
okay.
We watch them like on Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, and then we'll keep up. But yeah, what sucks though, because it comes out on Wednesdays now.
I know.
Like I gotta avoid all these spoilers left and right, and so.
Yeah, they changed it, but no, it's good. It's good. I think it's one of those ones where they're doing something a little different, so I'm enjoying the ride.
Well, it's like because with WandaVision, you know, the first 2 episodes I appreciated them for what they were. They were like callbacks to all those classic sitcoms and stuff like that, so it was cool.
Yeah,
but it took a little bit to be like, okay, why am I interested in watching what I'm watching? I'm not gonna lie, Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first 2 episodes I had to watch them twice because I fell asleep both times.
Yeah,
like, I was just like, I was like, I keep pushing through, and then finally episode 3 came and kind of got my attention. But with Loki, I mean, it was like from the first episode, I was kind of like, okay, all right, like it grabbed my interest immediately. So I was like, okay.
I think it broke the world that we've lived in for the past like 12 years with Marvel. Like it broke exactly. all the things that we thought were like ingrained. It kind of broke it. And so it really made you think a little bit. Like I still want to go back and watch that first episode to catch on things. No, but I'm excited to see what they do. I am. And WandaVision, I agree with you. The first 2 episodes were good. I think like the first 4 or 5, it was like the middle. I think it was like 6 or 7 where I was like, okay, come on. Like we got this stuff. We did it. That's good. It was gimmicky. It was cool. But like, let's get to the fight. Like I want to see them throw down and really get into it. So,
yeah.
So how did you get into doing it? Because you said the pandemic changed it for you for photography. And I was watching some of your videos earlier, and it was about the same time you started doing videos or your YouTube channel for toy reviews.
Yeah. So I did photography before then, like shooting like music events and like tattooed models and stuff like that. And basically anybody said, hey, Sonny, I have some money. You have a camera. Come do something. So I was like, all right, cool. But I started missing it because I was like, I can't do it no more because of the pandemic. And so I had bought my son a Captain America from Five Below, one of the one from the Onslaught wave. I was playing toys with him one day, and I was like, wow, this thing moves really well. And, because I had the toys when I was younger. I had a few of them, but, they're like only so much movement. And so I decided, well, I'm going to take pictures of this Captain America figure, see how well it comes out. Of course, I took pictures, and my son has the toy, so it's like half his face is like shaved, like to the color, and it's all the paint's messed up. So I was at the store one day and I found some on clearance. So I was like, I bought them, brought them home, took a few pictures. Then I decided, I was like, well, let me try to have some comedy into it. So let me go ahead, and I took some pictures, but then I made them as like little comic strip type things. And that was a lot of work. But,
it is.
Yeah. So I did that for a little bit. And one night I was kind of buzzing, and I had just picked up the Iron Man 2020, and I was like, screw it, let's do a review. And so I went in to do the review because I had been watching reviews. Like I'd been watching Jay Hernandez, Shartimus Prime, Unparalleled Universe. Can't remember the other guy. There was a few other people, toy people that I was watching. And so I was like, well, let me go ahead and just do this review real quick. And so I did the review, and I uploaded it to the Instagram. And then I was like, well, I had this dead YouTube channel. So I was like, well, let me just put it on that YouTube channel. And I want to say I had like 61 followers on Instagram. So I decided, and like 4 of them were like, oh, this is funny. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do this for y'all. Like, this is for you then. And so I kept doing them. And then I did the retro Spider-Man one, and that caught wind with some of the bigger toy reviewers. And they kind of like pushed the brand and pushed that video. And like Jay Hernandez in particular, he mentioned it on one of his live streams, and my YouTube subscribers went from 5 to 275 literally overnight. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I got to keep this up. So I kept doing them. And, and then like I was trying to get filler space between doing videos, and because it takes a while to edit the videos, to shoot the videos and everything. So I was shooting photos, but the photos they were getting likes, but they weren't getting as much likes or shares as like the comedy aspect of the videos that I was doing. So then I started to just kind of push comedy more into it a little bit, and then that's kind of where it took off. So and then, like I said, especially this guy right here,
it's
done wonders for my
everywhere.
He's doing wonders for my counts. I mean, I want, like, because on Instagram it shows you all the stats and stuff. He's gotten me well over 150 followers alone from like his first set of photos that I took of him.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
I was like,
to see
all right,
growth like that.
So
Jay Hernandez is one of the reasons I found your account. He mentioned you in a podcast. I think I think he mentioned you in a video, and we were doing a podcast that day, so I brought it up. And he was talking about the difference between like toy people and regular people, and how he doesn't like toy people. And I think you got mentioned in that in a good way, of like, you had made a joke about something, and people took it.
Yeah, finding Thanos in the restroom ceiling tiles at Target.
and they're like, he made a joke, like, why? And it's true. Like, that was one of the things that I've noticed. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm doing more stuff or just because of where everybody is, but like the negativity in like the collecting has just ramped up to like where you just can't even wade into like just checking things out. Like, it's always, so it's fun to find people that have fun with it and just are doing it for fun and are enjoying what they're doing. And so that's how I found you. And then, I've been following, and then the hood stuff, and then people are tagging me in some of your things. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Like, this is, and so I've been reading your stuff. It's been fun to follow.
Cool.
What's, you said you did it for you, and now you're doing it to keep up. How's that? What's that? Because when you do it for you, you can do it, you can not do it. You can do it really well. You can just throw stuff up. But when when there's pressure on it, how does that change kind of how you're working?
So, because I'm like a creative person, so I always have to do something creative. Whatever it is, I don't care if it's whether it's writing up a Facebook status that makes people read for like 4 minutes long, just to be like, what is this guy talking about? Just if there's little in jokes in there, and then someone laughs about it, I'm like, cool, that's cool. That worked out then for the purpose that I had. So I mean, like, I can create for myself all day, every day, and that was what initially it was just create for myself. That's where I was taking these photos, like actually messing with the lighting and stuff, and trying to get everything situated. But now, like, even when I do stand-up comedy, like, I do stand-up comedy, I don't do it for myself. Like, I do it because I like people appreciating, people need a laugh. And so I'll go on stage, I'll make them laugh. If I don't make them laugh, I'm like, oh, it's bad on me. Like, I just wasted all these people's time. I wasted their time, wasted their energy, wasted, gas money if they came to see me. So at this point, it's like, I'm doing for everyone else, so I got to make sure that I put up something that people appreciate and enjoy. And so, like, with my review videos, I'll do the review, and then I'll put the little captions at the bottom. Which some people have been like, hey, Sonny, I don't know who does your captions, but they're talking about you. I'm like, it's me. It's like, yeah, cool. Appreciate you. Appreciate you looking out for me. But that was me. So like, I put the captions out there, and sometimes like it might be a caption that not everybody gets. But one person will get it, and they'll be like, oh my God, this was like hilarious. And I'm like, hey, thanks, man. That's what I did it for you. It's like, so as long as the people appreciate what I'm doing, I'm going to continue to do it, and I'm going to do it for them. Like, I could do it for myself all the time and just not put it anywhere. Because doing photography, I've taken photos of plenty of stuff that I've never posted anywhere. It's just me to be creative. But if I put it out there, it's going to be for someone to enjoy and appreciate. And if it's something that they don't appreciate, I'll be like, pull that off real quick. But
yeah, no. And did you feel like is there pressure, like, because I find sometimes when I'm doing it just to do it, or to do it to get it out there, to get the content out there, sometimes it feels a little grindy, like the work is there, like it's work, like there's no doubt everything we do is work. from the photography to the getting the lighting right, to the editing, to all the stuff that we work on, it's a lot of work to put into it. Does it get grindy, or is it still fun for you?
So it's still fun for me,
Mm-hmm.
because while it's a lot of work, I can actually see something that came out from it. In fact, I have some hood pictures that I haven't even posted out, like, because I'm like, this is such a like small audience that may get this joke. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it might not even be worth putting out, but I get it. And I was like, I appreciated doing it. But as far as like, I do feel that there's an expectation to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really stay stagnant, especially with the way social media works.
Yeah.
Because if you're not constantly putting something out, the apps will start to bury your work.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that I'm like, I'll go, like, they'll like one of my pictures, and I'll go click on their profile, like, oh, I haven't seen any work from them in a long time. And it's because their work is so sporadic that it's like, oh, they shot a photo last week, and then the last time they shot a photo was a month ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't even see them.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to get buried like that, because if you do, you don't really grow from there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm kind of, it's kind of on me to keep up with the content, to make sure that I stay relevant with the app's algorithms, basically. Like, YouTube's bad about it. Like, I want to say 3 weeks one time without a video, and YouTube was like, oh, we're just gonna like then I put a video out, and YouTube didn't really do much for me with it.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. Like, I have multiple YouTube accounts. I have a YouTube account for the toy reviews and a regular YouTube account. And whenever I put a toy review video up, it would notify my other account, like, hey, you should check out this new video. And after 3 weeks, I haven't got one of those notifications in a while. And I'm like, well, YouTube just like forgot about me. So
Yeah.
that's why I've been trying to keep videos coming, to make sure that I stay relevant within the algorithms. But
Yeah, it's definitely a juggling game. Like, I can see it, where I post at least once a day, and at when I was like really pushing for Instagram, or really pushing for Twitter, it was like 8 posts a day, and it was like I can't keep up that pace. Like, I got a day job. I'm doing this on the side, like, and I'm doing video content, I'm doing podcasts. And it gets tough to kind of keep up with, to try to stay ahead of the algorithm, so that you stay within the relevance. And then if I don't post for, once a day, and then when I post, there's an event, Hasbro have an event or something will get announced, and I'll put up like 6 posts in a day, and my Instagram's like bing, 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 and then it'll just be dead. I'll get like 1 like a day, and then those days, and it gets grindy. But I think for me, it's worth it. For me, it's worth it to just, I like the stuff. Like, I really like the community aspect of it when it's positive, and growing that positivity within the community is also, has been really nice. I've made some really good friends this year, which is insane since I haven't seen anybody all year.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one thing that I really appreciate about this community, is like, there are far more people who support you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you do good and share your work and stuff. Then, well, depends on where you're at. On Instagram, I see it all the time, but on Facebook, I don't know how many times I've had my post removed because people complained about me, or like, I'm this close to being kicked out of one of the groups. They have a 3-strike warning. I'm on my 5th strike, so it's like, Then I started, like, I was on my 5th strike, this close to get booted, and then I just started like bombarding it with the hood pictures and getting people to like them and interact and stuff. And I'm like, what are you gonna do now? So
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because like, I one time put a picture of, I had bought 2 of the MCU Wasp figures. They were like $2.
Yeah.
So I bought both of them. And I had one in the box for the longest time, and I posted it against a solid background. And I was like, I go, hey, I'm doing a raffle. There's only 1 slot. It's $200 with Interpay shipping. So like, most people laugh, react,
Right.
laugh, react. And then it got deleted. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And I asked the admin, I was like, well, why did y'all delete my post? And we don't allow raffles. And I was like, who's gonna raffle the Wasp for $200 at one slot saying winner pays shipping. I go, it was clearly a joke. And they were like, well, we had 4 complaints. I'm like, dang, 4 complaints. Like, oh yeah. They were like 2 we could have ignored, but 4 we had to act. I was like, come on, man. I just assumed they talk like that, by the way.
Oh no, I'm sure they do. I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, I run the admins. But yeah,
it's a tough balance. Facebook can get dangerous, because just people just say whatever. And the funniest thing I find is Facebook is probably the one place where your name is actually out there. Like on Instagram, on Twitter, you got handles, you got different names, you can make things up, you could have whatever. Facebook is like your name, your family picture. It's like you and your kids. And then you spout like either really hateful things or really nasty things. And you're like, you got a picture holding your 2 daughters. And you just said some of the hardest things I've ever heard. And here we go. Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Was like the one with the Thanos where I said I found it in the restroom tiles at Target. Yeah. So I used to work at Target. And I used to do maintenance. Mm-hmm. Target restrooms don't have restroom tiles. Like you don't have tiles. Like it's solid. And so it's like it's a dumb joke.
Yeah.
And but I put it on Facebook, and people were laughing and stuff, and someone was all like, "I doubt you found it in the restroom," and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I totally did." So I'm like, "Well, it's a joke, but now you're calling me out, so I'm gonna lie." And one guy was like, "Oh, so you're just standing there peeing, and you look up, and it seems how I decide I'm gonna move it, look for Thanos?" I said, "No. First of all, I sit down when I pee," and it's like. I just went completely left with everything, and they removed it. They said it was trolling, and I'm like, all right, I'm okay with that one. I'm okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it is fun to just watch them, like just not take it seriously, or take it very seriously, but take the other side of it and watch them just lose their minds.
Yeah.
The calmest posts drive people nuts when you respond. Something's going crazy, and you're just like. Very calm, very like measured in what the words you're using, and they just start spinning. And I watched some guy just like, I was like, oh, that's really nice. I'm glad that you're sharing that with the public. And he kept going. And at a certain point, he was just like, you can go yourself and you can just blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh, wow. Oh, this just took a turn. And it's guys, sometimes it's just fun. Sometimes, the toy game it's fun. Like that's just what it is.
Well, I like all the ones where people are like, "Hey, I'm thinking about picking up this figure for this price. Do y'all think that's a good deal?" And they're like, does Google think it's a good deal?" I'm like, man, come on, he's asking honest opinions. Like,
well, there's some, but you got to admit that there's some of those that they're like, does anybody know where I can get this figure? And it's like, it's brand new. Did you do a Google search at like? Did you look for it at? I'm okay with the price question, but like has anybody seen it? And you're like, it's literally on Amazon, on GameStop, on Big Bad Toy Store. You can go to Walmart right now and probably pick it up. It's one of the common ones. Like, have you done anything?
I felt like doing that one time and posting. I think it was that Thanos, the Children of Thanos pack.
Yeah,
because it was Amazon exclusive. Mm-hmm. I so badly felt like posting, "Hey guys, does anybody know where I can find that Thanos, the Children of Thanos pack?" Just for someone to be like, "Bro, it's on Amazon." I'm like, I'm not going to Central America to pick up these toys. Like, but I was like I said, man, I've got so many strikes in that group, and I'm like, I just gotta.
Well, you gotta hope that they take the right bait too. Because I teach too, like that's my day job. And I set up programs sometimes for kids, and I expect it to do this. Like I'll say something and I'll expect an answer to come back. And at one point there was one where we were doing this program and I said, you have to deliver a message to me without leaving your table. Right. And I literally thought the kids would just yell at me. I thought they would just scream the answer across the room. Right. I made the mistake of giving them paper and pencils, and that's exactly what they did. They wrote it on the paper, and everybody just threw garbage at me for about good solid 5 minutes. And I was like, it's not what I was expecting to happen.
Yeah.
So it's like,
there is some things where it's like, you can set it up and you're like, oh crap. Like doing stand-up comedy was the same way. Because sometimes I would overestimate the intelligence of the audience. Mm-hmm. And I'd say a joke, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's only offensive," and I'm like, "Ah, crap! Like, y'all didn't get that one."
Well, there's an economy of words with those too, right? Like, because you have to use, and this is not from being doing it, but like listening to a lot of different interviews with stand-up comics, the idea of like, you want it to be really tight, but you also need the important information. And when you edit down, you maybe leave out a detail and you realize, oh, I needed that one.
Yeah,
to get there.
That was the problem with mine was it's a word that's offensive, but it also means something totally different. And I was under the impression that a lot of people knew what the actual definition of that word was, and I was completely wrong. I did a show and 3 people knew what it was, and they were laughing hysterically while other people are like, oh, guess we're gonna stab this guy when he gets off stage. So I was like, dang it. Actually, I had people come up to me that night threatening to beat me up behind the venue.
Wow.
It was hilarious. No, well, it was hilarious because they thought that they were gonna like just punk the comedian. They didn't realize they had to deal with me. And so I was like, oh, like, no, it's not how it's gonna go. I was like, y'all about to up my street cred right now once we head back there.
This would be a good news story. It'll get you booked more.
Go viral.
Yeah. Do you still do stand up?
I haven't done stand up since February of 2020. I did a HBO Latino festival.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they were like, hey, we really like you. Keep your phone on. We're going to be contacting you. And I was like, yeah, I made it. Let me go and quit. And then the pandemic happened and nothing. So I was like, crap. I was like, can I get that 2 weeks notice back? I didn't mean to.
When did you start doing that? When did you start doing stand up? I
started doing stand up, I want to say in 2010, 2011. Like I took stand up classes so I could learn all the basics and fundamentals and stuff. They tried to kick me out of class because of what I said. And I was like, y'all just told me there were no rules in stand up. And they're like, well, you can't say that. I'm like, So like I had a talking to for like an hour, 45 minutes. And the instructor actually told me, she came up to me. She was like, comedy's not for everyone. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's for me. But
yeah.
She goes, I can refund you all your money, or you can continue taking classes and then we'll just see where it goes. And so I'm real big on, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be a prick about it. Do it. And so that's where I got my stand-up style, and that's where I also got my review style of just being real monotone and just there out of like emotionless. But it was just clearly just a mess with the instructor who told me that I would never find an audience for my comedy and stuff. And the first set I ever did, I said not a single word. Well, I said, hey. I'll take it back. I said, hey, and I just stared at the audience till it got awkward and everybody was laughing. And then I was like, are you tired of looking at me? And then they just burst out in laughter. And I was like, here's your next comic. And I walked off stage. And it was such a distraction because everybody came up to me. They were like, oh, my God, I've never seen anything like that. And I was like, hey, thanks. And I was like, you see that, instructor? No, that's what I thought. But like, yeah, they still gave me a talking to. They're like, well, you distracted from the show that was going on. I was like, that's not my fault that you told me I'd never find an audience. And then I succeeded by not saying a word. That's on you. I was like, but that's when I figured, I was like, I can break all those rules that they taught me because none of it applied to what I did. So
yeah, no, I think that's, I mean, everything I've seen you do, I find funny. It's been hilarious.
Well, thank you.
And I'm the same way. Like when teachers would tell me, you can't do this, you can't do that. It just always was like my cue to be like, all right, how can I mess with you in the most appropriate way? Like that's going to needle you just enough. That's just going to piss you off even more. I completely get that. Yeah, I think it definitely translated to all the stuff you've been doing. Like it's been, to all the between the videos and everything. And I think that story reminds me of Gabriel Iglesias when he was on Last Comic Standing, and they kept giving him crap. He was like hiding phones everywhere. And I know it's scripted, and I know that they do a lot of planning for things, but he got kicked off the show because they were like, oh yeah, you can't do this, and you got to do it this way. And that your story reminded me of that story of like, yeah, look where he is. Like, I'm sure NBC's going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's funny too because in that class they were like, you gotta make sure you hit your target demographic, and I was like, I don't want a demographic.
Yeah.
I go, I want jokes that are just so well rounded, people are gonna laugh. And I go, and if you don't get the joke, I want you to laugh because other people are laughing around you. Which I've done some jokes like that too. And some people are like, they come up to me like, bro, I didn't understand that joke, but they were laughing, so I laughed. I'm like, sweet, all right, cool. Because laughter is contagious.
Yeah.
Like COVID-19. So so
There you go.
It works though, because if the whole crowd is laughing, it gets the people who did not understand the joke to laugh as well, just because they're in that environment. Which is why I've never done any Zoom stand-up shows.
Right.
I won't do them because I'm like, if you don't get the joke and you're at home and nobody else is at home with you to get the joke, you're just gonna be like, yeah, I didn't get that one. Like, it's not gonna translate the same.
Well, I would imagine it's also a little bit of like you're writing, you're editing as you're doing it, so you need the feedback to figure out where the laughs actually are, right? And you need to be able to work that material out, to get it to a place where it can, you could probably pull off a Zoom show, but you can't do it unless you know that material works. So if you're working stuff out, like you need that. It's
like all of my words are precise. So if you see a video of me do a joke and then you see me live, you're gonna hear every single word the same. And then also when I'm live, I wait for the audience to stop laughing, like the very last person to stop laughing before I go on with my next joke. And some people will actually laugh and ruin my next joke because they're like, this fool just wait for that last person to laugh. And I'm like, yes, it did. It's like, I have 10 minutes and I'm going to let y'all laughter kill most of my, but that's because like I did a show one time in, it was actually here in Austin, and I did the joke and everybody's laughing. And there's one person that was just like, and I literally, I just stared at them, and then people started laughing because they're like, he's waiting for that person to finish. And now that person has the attention, so they're laughing even more now. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, and I've even told people, are you done? And it gets people laughing because they're like, this fool's a prick. Like he's mad that this guy's laughing at his joke. I'm like, it's funnier that way.
I think the stand-ups today have proven that you do what you do best, and the people will find you.
Yeah.
And like if you're good and your material is good, then it doesn't matter. Like I think it's been proven time and time again that you can't keep good comedy down. You can't keep good artists down. I will say that. Yeah. Because there's an art to the word, right? There's an art to because it's not just like you said, everything's planned out. And I think a lot of people that see stuff like that don't realize that it's a performance, and you've practiced it, and you know where what words you're going to hit, what words you're going to punch, and you're looking for those moments to catch them off guard, because I think that's where you get some of it. So
yeah, there's even been times where like I'll say the setup to the joke, and I get a big enough laugh that I'm like, screw it, no punchline today, and I move on to the next joke because I'm like, why like if I got that such a big reaction off of the setup, if I deliver this punchline and it doesn't hit the same, I just ruined that joke for everyone.
Yeah.
So sometimes, I've done just a setup before and they laugh and I'm like, all right, next joke. Like, screw it.
I heard Austin is picking up for performance and comedy and stuff.
Yeah. Joe Rogan moved out here and bought, I want to say 2 venues, I believe, to start doing comedy again. So a lot of some people from California followed him over here to start doing stand up here as well. He wanted to have a place other than California, New York, and Chicago to do stand up, so he came to Austin. Of course, a lot of the Austin comics, they're all like, oh, I don't agree with his politics and blah, blah. And I'm like, I agree with the attention he could bring me possibly. So I was like, I'll go to his venue. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's...
Not going to marry the dude.
You're not living in the house with him.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it's good to have an outlet, and regardless of the politics, I think what some of the work he's done has elevated certain mediums between podcasting, stand-up comedy, live comedy, live performance. I think that those things, you can't deny that piece of the influence.
Correct.
Like, you might not agree with his comedy, or you might not agree with his politics. That's fine. You don't have to, but there's a contribution there to art that really had never been there before, which is great, to see. Because a lot of the podcasts I listen to are stand-ups, so listening to all of them go, oh yeah, no, I'm moving, I'm packing up and moving. I'm like, Jesus, everybody's going to Austin now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so and it's funny too, because like I wonder if it's just like the people not agreeing with Joe Rogan, or the fact that he brought comics that are, you know, doing bigger things to Austin. They feel like that's going to take a piece of their pie. But I'm like, if your comedy's good enough, you're going to survive with them.
I forget. I think it was Terry Crews that said, like, there's screw the pie, make your own. Like, there's enough to go out. There's enough to go around, right? There's enough things. Yeah. There's enough different people. There's enough audience that do your own thing, and they'll come to you. You don't have to share it with somebody else. And I think this goes with the toy stuff too. I think this is because when I started in it, and there's still that stuff there where there's a competition to like get followers, to get users, to get news up, to get content up. And when I started, like, people wouldn't talk to me when I walked in the room. Like, I'm like, hey, this is my first time. Like, nice to meet you. You know, what do we do here? And it's like, go away. Or like, hey, I was sitting in a panel at a convention, and somebody had something that wasn't out yet. They were sitting there holding a toy. Oh, okay. I said, what booth did you get that at? And he's like, I can't tell you that. And I was like, really? An hour, like 2 hours later, I called a friend of mine. I was like, hey, I'm looking for this thing. It's on the floor. They're like, here, come see me. And sure enough, he had them for me. So I walked in and I got like 2 or 3 of them, and walked into the panel, and the same guy that was sitting there that wouldn't tell me earlier where he got something, came up to me and he goes, how'd you get that? And I go, sorry, I can't tell you. it's like those moments where you're like, and that's been for me in this with this podcast in the last year. I realized that we are all in these little sections. We're all in these little corners, and we're all fighting for the same thing. And it's like, I want you on my show. I had Jay Hernandez on my show. I have the guys from Adventures in Collecting on my show. Like I support the other sites, because I'm like, look, Sonny, you do comedy. Great. Your posts are funny. The different take you do on it is funny. I'm about the nostalgia and the experience. So like I want to explain to you, like, I went to the store, all the problems I had getting to the store, why I like this, what I compare it to. It's the experience of it. It's the sharing the experience so that you feel a kinship and like we're not alone. Because I think that for a lot of us in this, we feel alone because it's not always socially acceptable to do what we do. Like, we don't like cars. Like, a lot of us don't.
Yeah, it was like, cause like.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I found that out. A lot of like cars is another thing, but it was like, because I mean, I've collected things throughout the years, like here and there stuff. It's mostly like Mortal Kombat stuff or Spider-Man stuff. But like going heavier into it with the pandemic, and then finally going back into work, and like I've shared my videos on Facebook and stuff, and people are like, so you're playing with toys now? I was like, no, I'm playing with toys heavier now. Like, that's what and it's like, someone even tried to make fun of me for it or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'm gonna go cry to my 2,000 followers on Instagram about that, and they were like, oh. I was like, yeah. I'm like, you're not gonna. Like, it's not gonna do anything. Like, I'm freely advertising what I do,
right?
As another venue of entertainment. So it's like, it doesn't matter what. To me, it's never really mattered what people said about it anyway. So. But yeah, of course they don't get it. So, I think I have 1 follower from work on Instagram. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, we'll just check it out.
Yeah. My job doesn't, they'll say stuff to me, and I'll be like, yeah, no. I know. Like, I do this. Like, when I'm not here, I do this. And so I know these things, and they're like, no, but for real. And I go, yeah, no, for real. Yeah. Like, I do this stuff. Like, I'm aware of it. So when did you I don't know what generation you're in for collecting. Like, what was your early exposure to action figures?
So as far as like action figures, I mean, I have the original, like I have one of the original He-Man still, because like I grew up poor, so we didn't have all the time. I wasn't buying toys all the time or anything. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, if I hold up a figure and I don't know the comic book history on it, it's because I grew up poor and I have like a few comic books and none of them are in sequential order. So I'm just like, I didn't even know how to read comic books properly. I was telling someone else about it. I was like, I got a comic book one day. My dad got me a comic book and I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh man. It's where like Wolverine. They're like, oh, his claws are bone. And I was like, man, his claws are bone. And then I got another comic book. I'm like, I'm confused. When did Iron Man enter the story? It's like, I didn't realize that they were like totally different sections. I was like, I thought it was like, my sister would collect like the Babysitters Club. I was like, I thought it was just all sequential like that. And so, like, I don't know a whole lot of the history of the background of the actual comics, but I did collect like the toys. Like I had G.I. Joes growing up. Well, I had a few growing up. Actually, Serpentor, which is
I can see it. Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah. That's one of the reissues or like the anniversary ones because I lost my original one.
So you were an 80s kid.
Yeah,
okay.
80s baby. And I had some of the Toy Biz X-Men. Like I got Gambit and I actually put him next to the retro Gambit and I was like, oh man, you can tell the difference a lot. But it's like
they've come such a long way.
Yeah, it's like it's embarrassing what I played with versus what my kid plays with. Because he'll come play with my action figures too, and I'm like, yeah, that's no problem. Like, as long as he don't, like, I'll let him play with them, but as soon as he's all like, and I'm like, whoa, like, let's not mess up that face sculpt there. Like, I gotta still take pictures of this guy one day. But yeah, I had those. I had almost the entire line of the Power Rangers with the flip heads that they reissued. They re-released them. The only one I was missing was the Black Ranger, Zach, and my mom bought me the movie version once to make up for it, and I'm like, he's shiny. I'm like, none of the other ones are shiny. He's the only shiny one. So
I'll one up you on that one. Growing up, we couldn't find certain things, so I'd go out, a friend's house, and I'd have my little bag of toys, like a couple action figures here, right? And so
you can say fanny pack. I had a fanny pack too.
Oh no! It was one of those like little canvas beach bags with like my name on it and like the picture, like the screen print, like painted picture on it. Like it was it was goofy. It was real goofy. And, I still have one of them in the basement actually. And I take out my toys and we're playing with stuff and they're like, "What's that?" And I go, "Well, that's Luke." And they go, "That's not Luke." And so we're, and I'm like, no, it is. They're like, "Where's his lightsaber?" I've never seen him in that costume. And I'm like, no, that's Luke. It was Luke Duke from Dukes of Hazzard. I didn't have a Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
So
okay, all right.
I was like, no, this is my Luke. He's blonde hair, white guy, blonde hair. It worked.
Yeah.
No, but it's like growing up, it was fine. There was a certain point where it wasn't cool and got out of it and then got back into it. And it's been, for me, I like history of it. Like I like to see the evolution of it and learning about it. But I do have blind spots. Like I'm doing the new Iron Man reviews.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are nice.
I
haven't seen them yet. But
they did come out really nice. And I'm looking at the bear and I go, I have no idea what the hell this is. I just know I have like a 7-inch bear that is really well sculpted and looks good next to Iron Man, but I don't know anything about the character. So here it is. So that'll be my review when I actually get it up.
Yeah, it was like I mentioned before on another stream that when I was younger, a friend of mine gave me a comic book, Ravage 2099. And I was like, oh, this guy. I was like, this guy's awesome. So I was like reading the book back and forth, like, oh, let me read it again. I'll read up on some Ravage. That way when comic book talk comes up, I can speak about Ravage. Yeah, nobody talks about Ravage 2099. So I was like, oh man, I should have been looking at a different comic book. But it's just funny, like if Hasbro ever releases a Ravage 2099 figure, I'm just gonna go nuts. Like
I'm still waiting for like
5 of those.
I'm waiting for like a Sleepwalker. Like they still haven't done, like there was that period in the 90s where it's like Darkhawk and Sleepwalker and like Deathlock, and you're like, yeah, like got deep into those, and they're just side characters. Like they're just like nobody knows what those are. I was so excited when they did the Darkhawk figure in the Guardians of the Galaxy line. I was like, that was the first one. I went there and I got that one. I left everything else on the shelf. I just got that one.
Yeah, well, it's funny too because it plays up to the nostalgia from when you're younger. Because I did collect the cards, the Marvel
Yep.
superhero cards and like the DC versus Marvel cards, and so like when I saw Nightcrawler, I was like, I need Nightcrawler. Well, of course I watched the X-Men cartoon, but there was a card that I had of him that I always thought it looked amazing, and I was like, and it made me like the character more just because of how he was drawn. And but yeah, some of the stuff like I'm familiar with them from the cards, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know the storyline, but I know their mutant powers. I know where they rank. It's like whatever the stats were on the back of the card. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been fun collecting them and seeing some of them, especially like the GI Joes, because a lot of the GI Joes that have come out, my cousins or my friends had them, and so I'm like, oh sweet, now I can own that one too.
Yeah.
I'm like still waiting for Serpentor. I don't know if Hasbro's gonna see this, but I need that. I need Serpentor in a 6-inch.
I do too. Like I'm dying for it, and it better be a deluxe with his chariot. Like
yes,
I actually think that Rise of Serpentor that 5-part thing where he takes over Washington and like it's this big thing and like whatever. I think that's better than G.I. Joe the movie. I like that one better, of them chasing down the DNA. And I had no idea at like 8 years old what DNA was, but I knew it was important in one's little box that they got out of Bones. Yeah, I think everybody's saying we're in the golden age of toys. I don't think we're in the golden age. I think the golden age was the 80s, because everything we've done, everything they're doing is just what they did in the 80s. It just looks better. So like, yes, the figures are great. Maybe manufacturing's in the golden age because they're so well detailed and sculpted and everything. But as far as like the characters and what they're building, it's like we did this in the 80s already. Like we just didn't have as many. Like that's what it comes down to. So
and then the 80s was more affordable. No. It's like when you started looking at inflation, I'm like, dang, like the GI Joe thing was like what, like $3.99?
Like $2.99. Like it was
$2.99?
it was like something insane. That's, you know how people say they have reoccurring like nightmares? You know, mine is, I literally have dreams that it's a reoccurring one where I get to go shopping at my Toys R Us when I was a kid, and I get to walk in and fill a cart with everything, and then realize I'm dreaming and have to wake up. That's the one that reoccurs, going, I got all the superpowers, I got all my Bionic 6, I got Thundercats. Oh, I've been looking for this stuff. And then I'm like, this isn't real. I gotta wake up, and then I wake up, and I'm like, okay.
You know, one thing that I really wish that they would. I don't care who puts it up, but I want a Mighty Max figure in a 6-inch scale. Like I used to watch the cartoon all the time, and I wanted the Mighty Max toys, but I made the mistake of telling my dad, "Oh yeah, it's like a Polly Pocket," and he's like, "I'm not gonna get your Polly Pocket," and I'm like, "You're not listening to the rest of what I'm saying." So I never got the Mighty Max toy, but I'm like, dang, like I used to love the cartoon, and like I always wanted the Mighty Max toy, and I was like, man, like I'm not good at customizing. Obviously, I use foil for everything, or else I would have custom made a Mighty Max figure already. Somehow.
There was one you did, I forget which one, and I looked at it and I go, that actually doesn't look that bad. Like that looks pretty good. Like one of your foils was pretty decent. Like if I didn't know and I just looked at it quick, I would have been like, oh, they chromed it out. It looks pretty good.
Was it a?
No, it wasn't that one.
No, okay.
No.
This one tricked a lot of people. They're like, "What?" Like,
that one I could tell. But there was, I think it was one of the Joes. It might have been either Cobra Commander or.
Oh, I put the chrome visor on.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? I found they make a permanent silver marker that I went and just colored in Silver Samurai. No like heavy custom work. It's literally just like a permanent marker, and it's metallic. And I just colored in like the armor pieces of it, and he shines real nice. Cool. So I might do that to a couple other figures here and there. But so what do you want to do with this? Like you got a little fame coming out of the pandemic. You got a little momentum. So are we gonna see you at Comic-Con? Are you coming to Toy Fair? Are you gonna be one of the guys?
Like to. I've always wanted to go to those things. But I never really felt like I was like, oh man, like, because I'll dress up as anything. I really don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like, because I know some people would dress up at Comic-Con, and I was like, well, I don't have a problem dressing up at Comic-Con. But I was like, I never felt like I was like, I'm not part of that community. That's like, so I'm just gonna pop in, just be like that casual person that's there, and like, not know really what's going on. So I do now that I'm more, I guess, deeper into it. I would like to go to those things. Like we have Comic Cons like here in Austin. They're not big like
Mm-hmm.
San Diego or anything. Um, so I do want to like dip my toes in some of those first before trying to go out to the bigger
It's a
stuff.
whole different ball game.
Yeah.
It's not even apples to apples or oranges to oranges. It's like apples to like Mustangs. Like it's completely different. It's
Yeah.
because I think one of the things is I think we need new people and more people at like Toy Fair, like New York Toy Fair, where it's an industry thing. It's a press event. And we need more coverage. We need more people with different perspectives that have a different way to look at things. And Comic-Con itself, I mean, you can go for the toys and not see anything else. Like if I'm in toy panels, I don't get to see anything else. Or if I'm doing TV panels, I don't get to see anything else. Like because they're all going at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I figured it's kind of like here in Austin we have South by Southwest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And which I've shot photos for South by Southwest for a few years, and like I'll go check out a different music event, and I'm like, what is this garbage? Like, what? Like it's just like, I mean, it's not even like South by Southwest light. It's like you were saying, it's like apples to Mustangs. It's like, so I get it, but like that's why I said I kind of want to just dip my toes into like a smaller one, just to be like, okay, I kind of can see what kind of like stuff they got going, because South by Southwest did at one point, or they were doing the interactive events, which were a lot of video game stuff, or it was like they had people from The Walking Dead there, people from different TV shows where you pay the fee or whatever, and they'll take a picture with you, pretend they're your friend.
Yeah.
So they had a little bit. I had a little experience with that, but I want to go to one of the smaller Comic-Con type things first and see what they're about. And then eventually, I do want to go try to hit one of the bigger ones though.
Yeah, no, I think you'd have a blast. Like, and San Diego is just like a whole nother, like New York Comic Con is all at one spot. It's like you go one spot, it's there, and they might have like one other venue that might be a little bit bigger, like as I think they're using something in Times Square as like a theater. But San Diego, it's like you got a park over here that's got like a full carnival going. You got FX is taking over this, and it's like the whole whole block, and then they take over the baseball stadium, and there's full like con there, and then you got the con floor, and then you got 3 major hotels that are throwing panels all at once. Like it is dizzying the amount of content that you could be involved in, and the different people you see. It's like you don't realize the fandoms that are there. Like you don't realize like how diverse like it can get, and how specialized, like you said, you wanted those figures. There's probably a group of people that collect those toys that'll meet at San Diego and do things around town together. Like it gets that kind of nutty. But I'm having fun seeing like all these different people step up. Like it's been, because it was a small, like I feel like it was a small group. I think it was like Foosh, Dan Pickett at Action Figure Insider, Toy News Eye, and like His Tank. Like that was like the core when I started. Like that was the things I read every day. And now I can't keep up with how many people are covering stuff and doing stuff. And it's fun. It's fun to see different perspectives, and it's also fun to see the community grow. Like it's fun making these kind of connections and talking about stuff. So
yeah, and this is what I like about it most. I mean, because I did acting stuff, and a lot of that's strict competition.
Yeah,
like you're not friends with somebody that looks like you.
Yeah,
because they're like, no, you're gonna be asked to do Hispanic drug dealer number 1. I'm gonna be that Hispanic drug dealer number 1. I'm not even associate with you at this point. And then like, which was funny because I mean, as many like Hispanic drug dealer number 1 or number 2s that I auditioned for, they would audition for me for like roles for like Asian men, black men, a Chinese woman I had one time, just because the words are not gender specific,
right?
But that was what it was written for. They were like, screw it, bring Sonny in, we'll see what he can do. Like in fact, when I did Idiocracy, it was supposed to be for a 6'4", I think, or taller, 300-pound man.
Yeah.
And I'm all of 5'10". I think I was 130 pounds at the time. So I'm like, oh, sweet. My costume was like full of pins because they had already made the costume for what it was supposed to be. But yeah, I mean, it's like doing stand-up comedy. I feel like I have lost people. Like they're like, hey, come do my show. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do your show. And then I get bigger laughs or reactions than they do. And then I don't hear back from them.
Yeah.
They delete me off Facebook, delete me off Twitter. And I'm like, oh, like, dang. But like with the toys, it's like there's enough to go around for everybody. Everybody appreciates looking at everyone's collections, So yeah, so this community by far is superior than any other thing I've been involved with.
Yeah, and I think it's that idea where like I think that mindset of like if you do really good and you get bigger laughs than them, they don't look at themselves and say, okay, I got to do better. They look at like, let's get him out of here because I don't want to work as hard. And it's like watching you do your content, watching Jay Hernandez do his lives. AIC, Adventures in Collecting, just got a DeLorean for their new Doc Brown review. Like they didn't buy it, but they found somebody with the DeLorean and did a video shoot with the Doc Brown figure, the 2015 version of Doc Brown, delivered in a DeLorean. Like people are up in their game, and it's like, okay, all right, like we gotta. It's a challenge. It's looking at everybody going, all right, how can I either help you or how can you make me better?
Yeah, and it's like with me, because I was like, man, I can do reviews all day. Well, I can't because a lot of work, but I can. Technically, I can do reviews all day.
Yeah.
And people can keep coming back for those reviews. Or Jay Hernandez was a big example. He was doing the reviews. He got kind of bored of it. He kind of gave me props and said, hey, that I kind of helped him change his direction a little bit. He started throwing skits in the middle of his reviews. Yeah. I liked his little skits because I used to do skits with an improv troupe way back in the day. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, maybe I can try to do some of this too. And so like I did a full customs promo and I asked Jay to do a little cameo in it to clearly show everyone like, look, yeah, I did kind of take from his idea. I'll even show you I took from his idea by having him in the idea. So that way nobody could be like, oh, you stole it from Jay Hernandez. Yeah, I did, clearly. Like I'm clearly have him in my video with me, like just as a shout out, like, hey man, he started doing something different. I went ahead, tried to do something different as well. Props to him. He's in the video with me. So yeah. And then of course there were some people that were like, oh, they're like, how'd you get Jay Hernandez? I'm like, well, if you see his lives, you know that he promoted my videos before. It's like I'm not just like, but he's real cool about it. He helps the community a lot too. Yeah. So I always give him props for that. But yeah, his
honesty is what I love about it. Like he doesn't pull it any punches. He just says what he feels and says what he's thinking, and it's refreshing. Like he doesn't play the game, because that's the other thing. A lot of review sites and a lot of people that do this stuff try to play the game, and like they don't want to piss off Hasbro, they don't want to piss off Mattel, they don't want to, and it's always fun to see. You could tell the people that are like, look, I do this because I really love it, and I'm gonna do it. If they support me, I'm gonna do it. If they don't support me, I'm just here to, like you said, you're creating content for you. You're putting it out there to challenge you and do your stuff and do your art, and that's why you're doing it. So it's always fun to see.
The only ones that I'm trying to play the game with is Storm Collectibles, so they can just start sending me stuff for free. I was like, I'll tell them all the time.
Well, here's the thing. You don't got to go through Storm Collectibles. You got to go through their distributor because it's
Bluefin.
US. Yeah. So you got to make friends with Bluefin.
I need to start dropping their name more often.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this Storm Collectibles that I got from Bluefin.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, so we're about an hour, so we'll wrap up a little bit, but tell everybody where they can find your stuff.
So you can find my photos and stuff on Instagram at Sonny Plays with Toys. You can always subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/the Sonny Channel. I also have the Sonny Channel on Facebook that sometimes will get residual Instagram pushes for some reason when I check the box. And on Twitter at the Sonny Channel as well.
Cool, man. Thank you for taking the time. It's been fun. It was a conversation I didn't see coming. Like I didn't expect to talk about your stand-up, and I love talking stand-up. So like, it was great to hear some of the stories. It really was. So thank you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Like I said, I like to collaborate with anybody and everybody as I can. So, yeah.
This podcast was brought to you by Jackson Studios. Jax!